What's up, Internet? My name's Ori. It is Sunday, August 17th, day number 41 inside the Big Brother house. Who won OTEV? How will it affect the noms? Ashley continues to be messy, plus more M&Ms and hurt feelings. Let's talk about that, plus all the intel drama and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Speaking of, there is an episode tonight. If you guys want to see a watch party, it's the HOH competition, nominees. Get this video to 1,500 likes. If we can do that, we will have a watch party tonight here on the channel. But a little bit of a recap for you guys. If you haven't been keeping up with what's going on, we're going to see tonight Rachel won HOH and she nominated Mickey, Morgan, and Vince. As of now, if Mickey and Morgan do not come off the block, one of them should be leaving this week, as Vince is pretty safe with 5 locked-in votes. We start the day off with Mickey going to Rachel saying, you know, she was really kind of blindsided after their conversation. She didn't expect to see her face up on the wall during the nominations, and she feels like these were actually fueled by other people's desires, mainly Kelly and Keanu. Mickey pretty much claimed she was never going to come after Rachel. She denies that she was even planting seeds to other people about Rachel. Rachel's like, I kind of heard that you were. Mickey's like, I kind of heard that you were. So it kind of just went back and forth on that. But then eventually what we do get is Mickey going to the fridge, kind of looking for some food, which apparently Keanu had already ate. There was a bunch of pasta that she had made from the night before, the one that I think had the meat in it that she told Kelly that she had to pick out with tweezers. She went to look for the food because she already knew that Keanu ate this, but she went in pretending to look for some, like, oh, where's that pasta at? Oh, no. And Keanu's like, oh, yeah, I ate it. I'm sorry. That's on me. But she was then spreading this around to a lot of people about how upset that she actually was that he eats so much. There was like 3 or 4 portions in there, blah, blah, blah. But she went and really was being a little bit petty with that as well. I guess Keanu was right. Mickey is using cooking as a strategy. Keanu, though, then went and talked to Rachel before the veto competition, saying, like, listen, I really want to use the veto on Vince, and I think if you do that, you should nominate Lauren to go up as the renom. Rachel just pretty much flat out refused. She's like, I think Lauren could potentially go home if I put her up on the block. Keanu was basically begging. He's like, please pick me for the veto. And she's like, I don't know about this. It's basically just saying, like, listen, I want the nominations to say the same, and Keanu was kind of pushing back on that. He then goes and meets up with Vince, and he's like, listen, I got to back off of this whole idea that I'm going to use the veto on you. Rachel doesn't want it, but she also is pretty sure that you're going to stay. So if you get a chance to pick somebody for the veto, don't pick me. Pick someone like Riley, because then he can use it without having that connection with Rachel. Morgan and Ashley started having a little bit of a conversation, though, where Morgan tells Ashley, she's like, you know what? Maybe America just hates me. Maybe they just hate people who play an honest game. Morgan, that's not, nope. That's not why. Also, you're not playing on it, but that's not why. Just be clear. Eventually, though, we do get to the veto players. It was Lauren and Will who were picked to play in the veto alongside the nominees, Mickey, Morgan, and Vince, and the HOH, Rachel. As we know, it was the classic veto competition, OTEV. I'm not sure how many people haven't realized this yet, but just for your information, OTEV is just veto spelled backwards. I remember when I first realized that, like way back in the day, I was like blown away. My mind was blown by that information. But basically, I saw this comment in the last video when I was describing OTEV. They're like, you didn't say it was like musical chairs. I was like, you know what? You're right. It was on the tip of my tongue. It basically is musical chairs. Everybody plays in the competition, and then round by round, they have to go down and find the right answer that OTEV wants. There's like a big slide they have to go down, and then they have to climb back up. It is messy. It is gross, but also a lot of fun. This one apparently only went 3 rounds. Last year, it only went 1 round, so a little bit of an improvement on that. But it was Lauren who wins the power of veto, coming in huge in this competition. Now, Lauren is somebody who, as far as we know, is a pretty big super fan. She's been watching since she was like a real little kid. So it's really cool to see somebody like that kind of come through in a comp like this. I'm interested to see how this all plays out, right? Like what kind of strategy did she use? A lot of us actually know, like going into OTEV, one of the big strategies is to stockpile answers, find all the different names that you can and put a big pile together so that later you don't have to go back down and search for them. You just know where your answers are and you can just search through there and find the right answer. Maybe she used that, I'm not sure. But afterwards, apparently Vince lost a little bit of his temper for being eliminated. He then went even further after the competition was over. He was standing there for a while, like it almost looked like the feeds were frozen because he was just covered in this gray goop. And he ended up venting in the shower to Morgan when she was talking. He's like, "Huh? Were you talking to me? Like, I keep messing up. I'm just gonna lose her." And Morgan's like, "Listen, relax. I'm like 80% sure you're safe this week." We then ended up getting Kelly, who was talking to Lauren, and she went over and actually kind of like wiped the medallion off to kind of clean it off. And Morgan kind of snapped on this. She was like, she won't even let anybody breathe. We also apparently had a lot of tension between Kelly and Mickey that's been brewing. And one of the things that Kelly said was like, Mickey's really mad at me. Like there might be a fight. I had my fingers crossed for it. We did get a conversation later, but we'll get to that. Catherine and Lauren, like I said, they were kind of like talking about different stuff. And Catherine actually went up to kind of help Lauren, you know, get cleaned up from everything going on. Apparently also they used like real wooden stumps, and Catherine's like, I got sap all over my butt. So that was a thing. But she started talking about the veto and whether or not Lauren should use it. Mickey was in the shower and Catherine kind of, you know, almost mouthed like, don't use it on her, pointing at the HOH bathroom. So Catherine did not want Lauren to, at the very least, take Mickey off the block. We then get Ashley talking to Mickey, saying that Ava doesn't care about Mickey and Morgan being on the block and doesn't give an F about it. We then also had Ashley go into Ava criticizing Lauren, saying she has no opinion. She's just a body. Ava kind of pushed back on it. She's like, oh, well, maybe, you know, maybe she does have an opinion. She just doesn't tell you. And Ava then went and told Will all about this and just Ashley's attitude in general. Like, how do you speak to about somebody like that? And Ava's really losing a lot of faith and trust in Ashley. She's kind of over her at this point. We then also had Ashley going to Rachel, pushing for Keanu to be the renom. That's not going to happen, as Rachel and Keanu have this weird like buddy relationship where they butt heads all the time, but they're definitely trying to work together. And Rachel even kind of told her like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. He's kind of obsessed with me. He's not gonna put me on the block, so why would I do that? She also, Ashley told Will that keeping Morgan over Mickey is probably their best bet right now, and Morgan would be way more beneficial to their game and way more useful than Mickey would be. But here's the problem. Ashley says, I can't go against Mickey. So it's like, you want her out, but you can't go against her. So that's a whole thing. Rachel then met up with Keanu again, now after the veto ceremony, or after the veto competition, I should say. She once again kind of reiterates, like, I do not want the veto to be used. I don't have anybody that I can put up as a renom option. One of the potential options to go up on the block would have been Lauren, but now that she won the veto, like, that is not an option at all. So they start talking about like, hey, like, let's make sure that we can do this. They start going over about trust. She says like, listen, I think you need to be very careful with who you're trusting, Keanu. I think you're trusting way too many people. Keanu says actually the only ones he 100% trusts right now in the game is Rachel and Riley. Yes, not Rachel Riley, but Rachel and Riley. So, which is a little bit surprising because we do know that he has a very good relationship with Vince. He talks with him a lot. We also know that he has that bond with Riley. They're even in a little alliance called the Unexpendables, right? Never even brought up on the show, but it's a thing. And it was kind of surprising to hear that. And then he goes over why he doesn't actually trust Kelly that much anymore, or Vince, and that with Catherine, and she's just kind of connected to Riley. So he's like, man, afterwards, she's probably going to watch this and be like, screw that guy. But, I kind of trust her a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. And they talk about how they want Mickey or Morgan out this week, no matter what. Keanu then tried to do some work for Rachel, saying to Lauren, like, hey, probably shouldn't use the veto, right? Like, probably not the best idea to do that. Lauren was kind of non-committal, but was saying, like, yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards not using it either. Kelly actually came, and she was part of this conversation as well. And after Keanu left, Kelly ended up telling Lauren, like, hey, Keanu would target Morgan, Ashley, Will, if he wins the HOH, but Kelly, she plans to backdoor Keanu and Rachel eventually. So another little thing to kind of keep in mind. There's actually been a bit of a bond forming with Kelly and Lauren, especially this week, even last week a little bit. One of the things here too is a lot of people are kind of seeing Lauren as someone who doesn't do anything in the game. And look, she's not working overtime like a lot of the others are, like Vince or Mickey or Morgan, but also, if you are good at Big Brother, you're not working overtime, right? You're kind of laying back a little bit, letting other people do stuff. But then behind the scenes, making little connections here and there that are going to help you later in the game. That's something that Lauren actually has been doing for a long time now. She's been good with a lot of different people in the game. Nobody really brings her up as much of an option other than potentially a pawn, especially against the showmance with Riley and Catherine. So really, I feel like Lauren is in a really good spot in the game where there's not that many people other than, say, like Ashley, who's really pushing against Lauren too much. We then get Vince, who then started pitching to Lauren, saying that, hey, be kind of nice. I don't want to pressure you, but then continues to pressure her a little bit to actually use the veto on him. He claimed that, Keanu would try and manipulate her a little bit, but like, don't listen to that. Like, just use the veto on me. And one of the big things that Lauren worries about is how Rachel would feel about her using the veto and whether or not she'd be mad at it. And Vince is like, I don't care what Rachel says. But both of them kind of admitted, like, yeah, Rachel does scare them a bit in the game. So again, it doesn't seem like Lauren is really enthusiastic about using this veto. So it does seem like maybe she is really leaning towards not doing it. We then ended up getting Morgan and Kelly, who had a little bit of a chat. Morgan actually thinks that she doesn't have the votes to stay no matter what. And they kind of ran over some numbers. And Morgan was saying that, she would have Mickey, Vince, and Keanu, or she would have Kelly, Vince, and Keanu. And then meanwhile, Mickey would have Ashley, Will, and Ava if it was coming down to Mickey versus Morgan. And then the votes would then end up coming down to the three people of Lauren, Catherine, and Riley, and who they would decide to keep over Mickey and Morgan. Thing is, we hear a little bit later on from Catherine and Riley, and it is actually good news for Morgan. But before we get to there, Mickey and Kelly, they ended up having a little bit of a chat just to kind of clear the air. Like I said, Kelly thought that there was going to be a fight potentially later on because Mickey was so mad at her. They start crying a little bit and they're, getting all teary-eyed. And Mickey saying that, she was really hurt by Kelly's comment about, welcome to the party and all that kind of stuff. And Kelly said she was sorry, but she's like, hey, if it makes you feel any better, I said the same thing to Vince. And what I really meant by it was I've been on the block with my friends too. So kind of a little bit of a slap in the face of Mickey of like, hey, you get your act together because I've been there. You're acting crazy, but I've been there. I've been through this. So don't come to me crying that I said something. So it ends up being kind of a thing where they kind of close it off there, but Kelly is not 100% buying into everything that Mickey's saying. She's just kind of listened to her. We then get Kelly talking to Vince, and she kind of assured him, like, listen, you got my vote no matter what. But a big thing is, I don't trust Rachel anymore. Rachel threw me under the bus to Mickey, and now she tells Vince, as well as her big plans to target Rachel and Keanu, but also Mickey and Morgan if she were to win HOH next week. We then get Catherine meeting up with Lauren, and Catherine also pushed Lauren not to use the veto. They did talk about like, hey, like who your only option probably would be Vince that you're considering, right? And Lauren says, yeah, but I am kind of leaning not to using it. And they also think that Mickey is just kind of completely snake in the house, trying to run everything, trying to dictate everything that's going on, trying to manipulate the people that she wants to be in jury to be in jury. So that's another one going against Mickey. But Mickey then also pulled in Catherine to try and sway her over to her side once more, even pulling out the M&Ms once again. And that chat went on for a long time, her just trying to explain the different scenarios and why Mickey is good for her game. Catherine went and told Riley, who got a little heated. He was not happy that Catherine was talking to Mickey about this. And Catherine even says, like, Riley, you're kind of making me feel like I'm dumb for even talking game right now. So he's like, I'm not trying to say that. It's just Mickey's planting seeds around for everybody. Catherine also brings up how Mickey had said that Keanu wanted to take out the showmance, and even Kelly had mentioned putting up Riley and Catherine. And that did not sit well with Riley either. He started saying that he wanted to, start questioning Kelly and Keanu about what was going on. Keanu did join this, but he doesn't actually call him out for anything that Mickey was saying, but then also does kind of figure it out. He's like, you know what? I think this is just Mickey planting seeds, trying to make us not trust Kelly and Keanu. I don't think that's actually a thing that's going on. So he kind of comes to his senses a little bit by the end of that conversation, but definitely some tension there with Riley and Catherine as well. We had Mickey and Morgan kind of meeting up, and one of the things they said was, you know what, we don't have the faith of the mustard seed. We just don't have it. To give you guys an idea, they've prayed over a lot of different things to happen in this game. They've prayed that Keanu would lose a veto. They've prayed Keanu would lose a blockbuster. They prayed that Rachel would not win an HOH. They prayed that they would win this veto, none of which has come to fruition for them. So they've decided they no longer have the faith of the mustard seed with them, but they do have the faith of the M&M. They still are just going over, their situation and how they found themselves in this spot. But one of the things that's just so funny is Morgan still is holding on to this bracelet that Zach had left in the game. He left it by his bed, and Morgan found it, and he was like, oh, did he leave this for me, or did he leave it for Lauren? But Morgan is holding on to it. She said she actually had it on her during the veto competition, and she was like, it was like Zach was there competing with us. So she had that in there, stuffed in her pants, she said. Here's the thing. Zach has been asked about this bracelet in some of his post-eviction interviews. And when he said, oh, that thing? Yeah, I didn't leave that for anybody. I left it behind because it was all stretched out and gross. I didn't think anybody would want it. So that's a whole situation as well, with Morgan just being kind of obsessed with Zach a little bit. We then had Morgan meeting up with Vince, and they talk about, hey, maybe we can get Rachel to backdoor Keanu this week. They're just grasping at everything. They're in denial stage, and hopefully they can bargain their way out of this situation, but it is not working out for them. Morgan also believes that Mickey has more pull than her in this game, and that if she stays up on the block against Mickey, that she would go home. Thing is, that's not how I see the votes. We're going to go over them a little bit here at the end of the video, but I actually think that Morgan's only chance at staying this week is up against Mickey. We then had Ava and Lauren kind of having a quick little chat, talking about how they think they're going to be safe, especially even through the double eviction, because of Rachel saying that she wants to keep Kelly and Keanu around for that double eviction. And they talk about, trying to really become closer allies and confidants, almost like they were when they were the Bond girls, right? And then Ava actually ends up going and talks to Rachel about this as well, kind of saying like, hey, like, I'm trying to build a closer bond with Lauren, and I think that's somebody that we could really use as an ally. Ava and Lauren also discussed Rachel in their conversation, kind of talking about how even Rachel doesn't really have anybody that she is very close to, it seems like. Ava doesn't even get who her noms are going to be before they were made. So she's kind of keeping, herself a little bit closed off, so maybe they can work with her. And Rachel, seems open to the idea, but then they end up starting to talk about Mickey as well. And, turning on her allies, putting her, her allies up on the block, and how absurd that is, going after people like Jimmy and stuff like that. So again, kind of pushing back on Mickey at this point. And that's pretty much where things kind of wrap up. There were different conversations situations here and there. Most people ended up going to bed. A big thing, though, right now is Mickey is pretty much at the bottom of the house. We can even take a look here at our allegiance chart. Right now, the way I see it is if the veto is not used, that Mickey and Morgan are way more likely to leave over Vince. Vince pretty much has 5 votes all locked up, secured, ready to go. And it seems like now Morgan would end up staying over Mickey, as Riley and Catherine both do not trust Mickey. Riley especially was saying that Mickey is just, planting seeds and doing all kinds of things to get them to be against other people, so that Mickey is probably the one that would have to go, which is really funny because Mickey thinks that she has Catherine and Riley kind of locked up all the way back from when she stole his HOH, put him on the block, and then somehow thinks that she was going to be best friends with him because she didn't put Catherine up on the block. Wild situations. But yeah, it does seem like right now Morgan would have a better chance of staying over Mickey, and Vince would stay over either of them if it came down to it. And again, it doesn't seem like Lauren is going to use that veto, because as far as replacement nominees go, it puts Rachel into a little bit of a bind. The only person that she would really at this point be able to put up would probably be Ashley. She doesn't want to put Kelly or Keanu up on the block. Like I said, she's kind of at least saying that she's saving them for the double eviction, but also I think Rachel just in general sees them as shields. As long as Kelly and Keanu are there, if she ends up on the block next to Keanu's probably going to be voted out before Rachel. Same thing with Kelly as well, where, hey, if Kelly's there and Rachel's up on the block and they ended up on the block during a double eviction, Rachel would feel a lot more safe. So even if she's not actually trying to work with them, she's trying to keep them around. So those wouldn't be options to go up the block either this week. You can't put Catherine or Riley up on the block, because then you're losing 2 people. And again, she's trying to at least, build a little bit with that in the hopes that, hey, later on down the line, I can use that as somebody that can go up on the block, and they'll send them out before they'll send me. So Rachel, while she doesn't really have any strong allies, she's setting it up here in a position where there's lots of shields ahead of her, people that will be taken out before her if she ended up on the block with them. So that's kind of a good thing for her. I have switched up on things just a little bit, not too much as far as the sides of the house really go. Even a way you could maybe even move Rachel a little bit more over to the middle of the whole board, because like I said, she is trying to work with a lot of different people. That's the thing here as well. One of the things I've kind of noticed, especially with this season, even last season, is more of just the change of the gameplay, right? We've even, moved to our allegiance chart over doing the alliance chart, because I just kind of felt like the alliance chart wasn't showing like what really was happening in the game anymore. There were so many alliances that just didn't mean anything, that weren't really, an actual solid thing. People kind of snaking each other and throwing each other under the bus, even though they're in an alliance. Because at the end of the day, if you're in an alliance with somebody, that doesn't mean you're going to be going to the other side of the house and throwing them under the bus. And almost everybody does that nowadays. So to me, one of the things that's kind of been interesting is, as we're seeing almost this new style of play with more voting blocks and people kind of having shifting allegiances, is more people playing like floaters. And that is a big thing. We talked about it the other day where, a lot of people will still confuse floaters and coasters. Coasters do nothing. They sit around, they do nothing. They're not even having game conversations. I would even say that there's not many people in this house that are full on coasters. There's people that have coaster tendencies. You maybe even like Will's actually in a great spot with all of his coasting. Or you have somebody like, let's say, a Catherine or a Riley, who Riley was basically on vacation for a first few weeks there until him and Catherine started to get in trouble, and they actually started to play and have more game talks as well. But a lot of the players all have a little bit of these floating tendencies. Rachel has kind of been floating around even with Keanu for a lot of the time, where she was with Keanu, but also against Keanu with Jimmy. We've had stuff where Mickey and Morgan have been floating between when Zach was in the house with Zach and Vince, and then Ava, Will, and Ashley. So there's just a lot of people in here who are all kind of doing a little bit of that floating game. And I think it's kind of fun, because one of the things about floating is if you're good at it, you can be in a really good spot and be able to control a lot of things without actually even controlling it. If you're bad at floating, It is messy and you will get exposed. And there's a lot of bad floaters in this game right now. So it's been a lot of fun seeing this all play out. What do you guys think, though? Should Lauren use her power of veto to save any of the nominees? Should she save what she has at times said was her number one in Vince, the one she voted to keep over Zach? Or should she use it on Morgan, which Vince weirdly has even suggested he would pitch to Lauren? I don't think he's actually going to do that, but he's told Morgan that he might do that. So what do you guys think? Should Lauren use the power of veto? And if she would, who do you think Rachel's best replacement nominee would be? Or do you think Lauren will not use the power of veto and nominations will stay the same? Let me know in those comments down below. Thank you guys all again for all the love and support you guys show me here on this channel. It has been an amazing ride this season, and I truly cannot thank you guys enough. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. If we get this video to 1,500 likes, we will do a watch party for tonight's episode. So a little bit of a challenge there for you. Check out all the links to my socials, pinned comment, description down below. You can check out things like Twitter, where I'm definitely not getting into fights. I promise you guys, I'm not doing that. I'm not instigating on Twitter. I'm definitely not doing that at all. No. You can also check out the Discord, which is a great place to kind of hang out, talk about Big Brother, Survivor Australia actually starts today. There's probably going to be some ways that maybe you can watch in there, so maybe check those out. Also check out things like the Ori Fund. Help support Oris everywhere. Never required, always appreciated. But seriously, the support that you guys give me just by watching the videos, commenting, hitting that thumbs up button, it means the world, more than you even know. So thank you guys all so much for that. That's all I got for you, and I will see you maybe tonight.
Oh my God, they brought us more M&Ms. They like love giving us M&Ms.
Yeah, I know.
We must go through those a lot.
We do.
They're so good.
Okay.
You have to think this one up.